I think this should probably be the new license plate slogan for the state of Florida, because that's just the reality. It's an ugly truth, but it is going to be the case going forward. No freeloaders allowed. Many have said, Florida Maquis, aren't you worried all these people moving to Florida that you're going to have a bunch of liberals infest the state and then they're going to flip it blue? Not a chance. Not a chance. Not the way we're doing it. See, a lot of people don't like the way we're doing it. That's why the mainstream media has pretty much decided to delete the story and not talk about it. Now, I do apologize for the last live that we did. One of the funny story, by the way, when you have so many people moving in to Florida, they are having an incredibly hard time keeping up with the demand for internet. People are literally moving in. They're getting top-level internet hooked up by the thousands every day, and it is a full-time job. So once in a while, we have hiccups. It's just what it happens to me all day long. It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. I don't think it was anything particular to what I was talking about. It was just the wrong timing. I normally don't do lives. I mean, I do them in the morning sometimes, and I get lucky to be able to go an hour and not have a hiccup. But on YouTube, if you lose internet for any extended amount of time while you're in the middle of a live, you're kind of screwed. So anyway, I just wanted to elaborate on what was being said and what was been. And look, it's not a popular truth. Okay, it's not a popular truth. You know, people are going to complain and whine and moan about it, and that it just is what it is. We're going to price the freeloaders out of the market. And, you know, people say how things should be. It should be that everyone should have affordable this, that, and the other. It's a very liberal, progressive attitude. They want government to step in and make everything affordable for everybody and start handing out checks and give everybody free jobs and all this other nonsense. It just ain't going to be that way in Florida. It just ain't going to be that way. And look, we've all had to tighten our belts. I buy my food in bulk. I sit home a lot of nights. I don't go blowing a lot of money out doing this, that, and the other. I literally work every day, put up a video every single day. I live stream almost every night. I've taken the last couple of nights off just because I've needed to. But it is the reality of why Florida is going to continue to become more and more and more of a red state. Because it's going to start to be a money issue. And if they want to demonize us for that, then that's fine. We're going to accept that demonization. Now, what the governor was specifically talking about earlier was a revamp of the insurance industry and some legislation that we've put forward. It's kind of dry stuff, kind of in the weeds, but basically the story is that we have a great deal of risk involved with hurricanes, of course, and one just is now starting to develop down near the Yucatan Peninsula, I guess that looks like, or close to Mexico. And we've got to be prepared for it. And there's going to be claims. I think one of the guys he had at the news conference said 8% of the nation's population, but 76% of the damage claims, storm damage claims, which just part of living in Florida. You know, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I know that's not going to be a popular thing for people. This is where I've talked about Flexit. I've talked about hashtag buckfighting and all that. This is what I'm talking about. Don't come to Florida unless you can pay your way. Unless you're bringing skills and unless you're bringing the ability to come here and contribute and not vote for freeloaders and not support freeloaders and not support freeloader ideals or progressive ideals. Please, and this is why I said, you know, most of my audience, the vast majority of my audience, is conservative. I look at the demographics. They show me the demographics. I have 80%, 75 to 80% male viewership. Almost 85% is over the age of 35. And when you look at the demographics of North America, when you look at men over the age of 35, Vast majority are almost all conservatives. But I will say this, if you come to Florida, be prepared to work for a living. Be prepared to pay your own way. I mean, we take care of those who need to be taken care of, but that's just about it. They tried to corner the governor on this many, many months ago about the unemployment situations. Oh, governor, all these people say that they don't have this unemployment this or this unemployment that. And he's like, well, vet them. We'll do the best we can. But they could go get a job. It's always a thought. That was his attitude on it, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it. But I do want to bring back up real quick. Hold on. Let me zoom in here. The part of the live that we were covering with this real estate agent, because I want you guys to listen to what she said again clearly. And then ask a local real estate agent anywhere else, because the progressives and the liberals are trying to make this story that, housing is going up everywhere. Everybody's buying houses. Not like in Florida. Not like in Florida. So anyway, the governor asks a real estate agent a question about the market, and then she responds, and that's where we're going to pick this up.
Real estate, realtor.
Thank you, Governor.
How are things going right now for realtors?
Do you
Pretty
see
good?
the smile on my face? And the money in my pocket? No, just kidding. First of all, thank you. Thank you for including me on the panel. I appreciate that, but thank you for being here. You've always been a friend of the Realtor organization, and we love that. And we've always had good communication with you, and we know that that will continue as well. We love this bill. From all the aspects that have been talked about so far. The litigation is a huge concern. It's the dollars that are going there and not back to the policyholders. So it's huge. In case you don't know what's happening in the real estate market, I mean, here in Sarasota, it's unbelievable the number of days on the market, average number of days on the market, from the time a listing hits MLS to when it goes under contract. 8 days. 8 days. So the properties, I mean, people are not even getting them in MLS because by word of mouth, they're selling.
How would that have compared to like 10 years ago?
10 years ago, it was probably 60 to 90 days. And even the high end, and used to consider above $1 million, now we're talking about $5 million in our market. That market is going under contract within 30 days, and that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. A quick story that I love to tell is, had an associate in my office who had a gentleman walk in, wanted to look at properties. He and his wife out. His price range was 5 to 10 million. And so they go see a house on Siesta Key that needed to be torn down, but it was a beautiful triple lot. And the wife said, oh, this is the view I want. And the guy didn't like the house. So they go to Harbor Acres and they look at this beautiful contemporary home that's all decked out. And so he calls the realtor back the next morning and says, we got a problem. He said, my wife wants the house on Siesta. I want the house in Harbor Acres. He says, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy them both. He says, we're going to tear down the house on Siesta and live in the house on Harbor Acres while we're rebuilding. You know, that doesn't happen. I mean, but that's the kind of crazy market. But regarding this, a lot of our feeder market now is California and some of the western states. So it's not just the Mideast, the middle of the country that we're getting. So when we talk about things that are their concerns, like insurance, because they want to know if I'm living on a Casey Key, a barrier island that's not even, so narrow, I'm worried about the storms. I'm worried about flooding. So this is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we are so supportive of this. And again, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people joke about these Realtor of the Year, maybe some of these governors that are driving people out of their states. But I always say, yeah, it's one thing to have governors drive out of the states. You have to have a governor that has a hospitable environment for people to land and have a landing zone. And I can tell you, if I had not won in 2018, you would not be seeing the market that you're seeing today. That's just an honest to God truth.
And that is the truth. That is absolutely the truth. You see, they tried. They tried to cheat in Florida. Don't think Florida. Sorry about this. Hold on. Don't think Florida fell off their radar with their little Democrat cheat machine. They tried. They failed. And there's a reason they failed. You see, before Governor DeSantis, all of the cheat people were still in place. In Broward and in Palm Beach and everywhere else. So you'd have to ask yourself this question. How did they fail? How did they get beat? I'm telling you what, guys, it comes down to people on the ground. People on the ground. And it was close. It was really, really, really close. But here's the other ugly truth that I'll leave with that nobody really likes to talk about. And we're just going to have to come to some kind of a reconciliation on it. And it goes back to the War of Federal Aggression in 1860. Something was happening in this country. And those who wanted to tyrannize didn't like it. The southern states were becoming wealthy. Very wealthy. And that wealth was translating into power. It was one of the reasons they created the whole 3/5 of a person thing. In the Congress, those of you who know what I'm talking about, you can educate the others on why they only allowed certain populations to be counted as 3/5 of a person. Because it had to do with representation. In the House, of course, the Senate is 2 per state. But more and more and more, what's being shown right now in reality is we are still the real winner. Because that's going to be the reality, and it's an ugly one. It's going to get expensive. It's going to get expensive. Property is going to become rare. People are going to pay premiums. And that's going to drive out the freeloaders. That's going to drive out the tent encampment people. It's going to drive out the protester types because they want everything for free. They want everything just handed to them. They don't want to work for a living, and they want to have plenty of money to go blow on, whatever substance they need to get them through the day or the night. And it's going to get harder and harder and harder to do. Florida is going to become one of the biggest gated community on the planet. We're not going to need a wall. The money situation is going to do it for us. And like I said, I'm not a wealthy individual. I'll just tighten my belt and I'll work harder and work harder and work harder and I'll do what I have to do. And that's going to be its own filter. That's why for so long I said, guys, if you need to get here, if you can get here, get here. Get here quickly because in only a matter of months, less than a year, it's going to be nearly impossible. Even for the good folks in, the middle range income-wise, it's going to start to become almost impossible. The jobs are going to get snapped up. People are going to have to work a lot harder. But it's going to have a certain effect. And it's not pretty. It's not ugly. People are going to say it was a conspiracy and that it's, shutting out good people. It might. It might shut out some. But the vast majority of the effect is going to be felt on the parentheses D side. Because they're the ones who don't want to work. They're the ones who want the big socialist society with the free checks and the Andrew Yang gang and all these people. They're the ones we're getting rid of. Because it's going to boil right down to it. All these guys that have had all these properties that they've been renting for so long to these Andrew Yang gang socialist types, their property values are going up too. Their taxes are going to go up too. So they're going to have to look and go, you know what? Either I'm going to have to raise rents or I'm going to sell the property and just get out and take my profit. So, one way or the other, The people who can afford will afford. The people who can't will leave. And also, the converse is true too. The converse is true. What do I mean by that? Well, in Michigan and in California and in New York and in these places where people are jetting, you can get property up there for a song. Rents are collapsing. Liberals love that. They'll gravitate towards those states. That's why I've said it's a lost cause up there. It's a lost cause in Michigan, a lost cause in California, a lost cause in those states. The reason I've said this, the reason I made that map, I wish I would have brought it up, is because there's going to be this effect now, this polarization effect, that as more money gravitates towards the southern states, those who can't handle it are going to gravitate towards. It's going to get worse in Michigan. It's going to get worse in Wisconsin, worse in Minnesota. This is going to be the case. Worse out here, worse out west. Because wealthy people who have wherewithal, people who have means are just not going to tolerate it. They're not going to tolerate living like that. They're going to find some place to live where they feel safe, where they feel prosperous. Thank you, Cemetery 76. I just saw that. It's just the reality, and that's why I wanted to cover that live, because of what they were talking about. He was talking about, insurance and how this is going to be something where it's going to be a double-edged sword. I don't know what's going to happen in Texas. I'm still on the bubble about Texas because, man, I tell you what, I see some things going on over there that are disturbing as hell. And as somebody just mentioned, tourists. Guys, I'm telling you right now, Florida doesn't necessarily need tourism from domestic sources. We can get tourism from all over the world. So it really doesn't matter, even if there were some kind of a financial hiccup here. We got people coming here from Asia. We got people coming here from Europe. People coming here from Russia. People coming here from South America. Their kids like Disney just as much as anybody else's kids like Disney. So we can we would prefer to service our friends and neighbors, but if we have to provide tourist services to those from other countries, that is what we will do. So anyway, I guess I will just leave it there, and I'll let you guys chew on this for a while, but that was the real crux of what was being said there. The real estate market is in the stratosphere right now. We are pricing the liberals out of the market. And very soon we're going to be one giant, for all intents and purposes, really, one giant gated community. We won't need an actual wall. We won't need an actual gate. And that's what Flexit is all about. Life here is going to be very, very different than even in places like Tennessee or Arkansas or Illinois. And, if you can, there's still time and there is still inventory, but it's limited and you're going to have to hurry. So anyway, God bless. Have a great weekend. I will try to. I know last couple nights I couldn't do Twitch. I'll explain that a little bit later. It has to do with blue light. The game we were playing it's in an ocean. Basically, you're swimming around in an ocean. And so I have a 55-inch screen TV that I stream on Twitch. And so 2 and 3 and 4 hours a night for the last 6 nights, prior 6 nights, staring at this giant blue light source. And those of you who know what blue light does is it messes with your head and gives you horrible headaches. And so I had to take a couple of nights off, and I don't know if we're going to be able to continue to play that game. We might play a different one, but it's a live chat. So basically that's the whole idea of being on Twitch at night, is to be able to engage like this. I rarely engage like this on YouTube simply because it's just kind of too difficult. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. I very much appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you, God willing, tonight on Twitch.